Calling all builders. Welcome to Snowflake's 5-minute demo dare, where contestants race against the clock to demo the latest and greatest Snowflake products and features. Our judges will rate the demos based on 3 criteria. How ambitious is the demo? Is the demo useful and replicable? And finally, how engaging and interactive was the demo? Each category is worth 5 points, and demos can rack up to a total of 15 points for a perfect score. And now, your host, developer advocate Felipe Hoffa.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone around the world. We are alive again for the demo there. Today, our participant will use Dataiku and Snowflake to chat with your documents, and we cannot wait to see if they will run their demo in 5 minutes. Also, I would love to know if LinkedIn comments are working today, because for the last couple streams, I did not get any comments from LinkedIn, or just very few, and that's weird. But we also have a YouTube stream right now, so if you are watching us on LinkedIn and you want to get a message to us, say anything, ask any questions, and LinkedIn is not working, because things sometimes don't work on real time, switch to YouTube. We have a backup. And speaking of things working or not, today our participant is ready to do a live demo. And if you have watched this show before, not always live demos work. Let's see if it works today. Who do we have today?
Hey, Felipe.
Masi-Phelps, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for setting me up to succeed there. Hopefully it'll work, but no guarantees.
Thanks for taking a risk with us. So, Pat, what do you do at Dataiku?
I'm a partner sales engineer, so I work with our tech partners like Snowflake on joint customers. I also work with some of our consulting partners. So Dataiku is an enterprise analytics and AI platform. So a lot of our customers are building AI solutions using Dataiku built on Snowflake.
Excellent. So let's partner up for this one. What demo do you have for us today?
My demo is an enterprise-grade chatbot where I think a lot of the criticism of LLMs these days is, what are they going to hallucinate? What material are they trained on? How can I rely on the results? And so I'm going to show everyone how you can point an LLM-based chatbot to like a company's proprietary corpus of documents. And so instead of our chatbot just sending messages back to the user, it's going to pull the most relevant sources from this database of documents and even cited sources in responses. And so I think this is a nice way to improve the answers of your chatbot and improve how users think that things are correct. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's educate our chatbots with information we have in our company, and let's make sure the chatbot has a link to where it got the information from.
Yeah.
Cool. And you know that you only have 5 minutes. How much are you attempting to do in those 5 minutes?
I've probably run through my demo a few times at this point. I don't think I've done it with a timer yet, though. So this will be it'll be risky. It's like in Bake Off when it's like, oh, I baked this cake, but not to time yet. So yeah, we'll see.
Exactly. So, and what are you attempting to do in those 5 minutes? So we know that you completed your own challenge.
Yeah, great question. So a couple prerequisites. I've already deployed 2 large language models to Snowpark Container Services. One is an embedding model, which I'll use to feed in my documents and generate vectors representing those chunks of documents. And the second model is a Mistral-based generative model, one of our chat complete models. And that'll be the one that powering the chatbot behind the scenes. And so I've already run this code to deploy these 2 models on Snowpark Container Services. I'm also using a lot of Dataiku native features, including like an easy point and click chatbot that we have in our platform.
Cool.
So yeah, everything else. Yeah. So what are we actually doing in the 5 minutes? Yes. So in the 5 minutes, I'm going to go from PDFs. Like I took owner's manuals for Honda vehicles, and we're going to parse them into text. So PDF to text stored in Snowflake. I'm going to go from text to vectors of chunks of those text using our embedding model in Snowpark Container Services. And then I'm going to plug in that vector database into the back end of my chatbot web app. also plug in our Chat Complete LLM, also hosted on Snowpark Container Services. And then I'm going to show you guys what it's like to interact with a chatbot that's just using the raw LLM, using the LLM plus sources, using the LLM plus sources, but with some filtering in it. So yeah, end to end, hopefully. PDFs to chatbot, yeah.
Yes, PDF to chatbot. That's a lot to attempt in 5 minutes. And as you know, we rate demos based on ambition. This sounds very ambitious. Entertainment. It is entertaining to watch. And you look very lively today. And usefulness. How useful will this be for people? Now, speaking of judging, we have 3 judges today that I would love to welcome to the show. Hello, Brad, Caroline, and Daniel. How are you doing?
I am doing extremely well. Very excited to be here. You know, Pat, I think that you know, the description of your demo, like Felipe said, sounds challenging to do in 5 minutes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yes. Caroline, any thoughts, questions for Pat before he begins?
Yeah, I'm also super excited. This is my first time being a judge here, so super excited about that. But yeah, really excited to see the chatbot and learn more about the underlying mechanism for augmenting the model.
Yes. How about you, Brad? Senior sales engineer at Snowflake. You represent customers here.
Yeah, I have to tell you, this does sound ambitious. So high points there, just right off the bat. But, you know, this does come up with customers quite a bit. So I'm really excited to kind of see how easy it is and, you know, understand how we can, you know, take something that exists in LLM and customize it by adding documents and providing like an intelligent chatbot. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what you're going to do.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, we're already working with 2 joint customers, Dataiku and Snowflake, on this exact same thing. So yeah, I think it's super relevant, hopefully.
Beautiful. Anything else you would like us to know, Pat, before the 5 minutes start?
No, that's it.
That's it. We have everything ready. You have your desktop ready to share. Should we start the timer right now?
Should I present?
Oh,
wait. You have it ready.
Excellent.
Is it starting? Okay, cool. So the architecture of what we're going to do today, we're going to take an open source LLM from Hugging Face, import the model into Snowpark Container Services. We're going to have some GPUs enabled behind the scenes here. We're going to have our Mistral Chat Complete model, our embedding LLM, and then Dataiku is going to then send it prompts via this web app and then receive back responses. So it's a nice architecture for customers who want to deploy their models in Snowflake. All right, just switch screens here. Okay, cool. So prereqs, we've run a bunch of Python code to deploy these different LLMs to Snowpark Container Services. These models are running. Now I'm going to take my PDFs of like Honda vehicle owner's manuals. So we've got one for the Odyssey, CRV, Civic, etc. And so first thing we're going to do is extract the text from each of these PDFs. So I'm going to store this as text. I'm going to store this in a Snowflake table. And we're going to run it. So this is just using some open source Python libraries to pull that text out of those PDFs, and store it into Snowflake. Okay, looks like it ran. Next thing we're going to do is create a vector database based on that text. So I'm going to add my vector database here, and I'm going to use that embedding model, which I've deployed to Snowpark Container Services to generate those vectors. And so here we're just going to figure out how many basically like words we should include in each of our chunks from our documents. And so I'm going to say, let's take like 500 word snippets with 120 word overlap. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to augment my other LLM on Snowpark Container Services. And so this is a Mistral-based Chat Complete model. And I'm going to say this LLM should retrieve the 4 most relevant documents to a user's given question, and then generate a response based on those relevant documents. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to select a code environment to build this with, and let's go ahead and build that vector database. But actually, I forgot to do a couple things. So I'm just going to say, here's our text column, and here's our metadata column with that file name, just so that we can cite our sources appropriately. Okay, so what Dataiku is doing behind the scenes here is we are taking those 500-word chunks from my owner's manual, and I'm turning those chunks into vectors that are about 250 numbers that represent what that text chunk means. And so then when I go ahead and build my chatbot, I'm going to find the 4 most relevant chunks to a user's question, and then return those sources back to the user in my web app. Okay, so let's take a look at that web app right now. Okay, so Dataiku has this chatbot that we have ready for all of our joint Snowflake customers, right? And so what we're going to say is this chatbot is going to log any historical conversations from users to a Snowflake table. We're going to offer users the opportunity to provide positive and negative feedback. We're going to choose that Mistral-based large language model on Snowpark Container Services, and then we're going to select that knowledge bank, so that vector store containing our information about our owner's manuals, right? And we're going to say, retrieve the 3 most relevant documents, and then let's provide just some metadata to the users so that they can see what sources we're citing here. Okay, cool. So let's do that. We can add some example questions here, and I think we should be ready to go. Let's take a look at our chatbot. And I don't know if you saw the pop-up on the bottom right here, but it looks like we successfully created that vector store. So now if we look at our chatbot, let's ask a question. So let's ask something like, where are the airbags in my car? And let's not use our knowledge bank at first and see what it comes up with. Okay. Doing a little dance as the LLM spits back its results. Okay, cool. And it gave us a nice little answer. Now let's take a look at a knowledge bank, and let's maybe filter to just our Honda Odyssey, right? And see what happens if we create one more chat.
Perfect timing. Did we get the answer? Airbags in my car using the knowledge base.
So here we have a nice little filter. So it says we're just filtering on this one file, and then give it a couple seconds.
Exactly. And instead of using the file right now, it's using the vectors that we generated for that file.
Yep, exactly. Whereas the other one, so here we can see our sources of not only is the SRS airbag, but it cites our cool little sources right there.
Nice.
All right.
And that was the perfect use of time. If the previous question had taken 3 seconds left, I'll accept it. Judges, what did you think?
I thought, spot on. This was highly ambitious. It was pretty impressive to see, how easy it was, to really kind of string all of this together, because there's a lot of moving pieces there. One question I do have for you is, what are the limitations, right? So how big of a PDF file could you use here?
How big of a PDF? So the thing is, when we created the vectors from the PDF, right? We took it in chunks, right? So I think we took 500-word chunks. So the PDF can be as big as you want. It can be, I ran this earlier on, I think 1,000 pages. These owners' manuals are 700 pages long. So they can be really big. But I think the point is that ideally the LLM is just pulling a paragraph or 2 paragraphs from this section, a paragraph from another section. It shouldn't be reading the whole document when it's giving you a response. We're just finding the relevant. So yeah, it can be as big as you want, because we're just chunking it up into little pieces.
Impressive. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say, again, very ambitious. If it was the 6-minute demo, you would have had it, totally 100% nailed. But yeah, this is great. And I'm kind of looking forward to, when this is over so I can share this with some of my customers, because I do think this is,
Cool.
this is relevant. Question I'd have for you, when it comes to those documents that you're loading, we have quite a few people that keep those in like Snowflake stages or, various locations. So is that, how would that work to get documents that maybe you don't put in through the Dataiku console, but exist somewhere else?
Yeah, so Dataiku is all these connectors to Snowflake behind the scenes. So it's kind of like Dataiku is the UI, it's the control plane, but a lot of the workload that we're pushing down is like SQL or Snowpark Python. So I'd say a lot of our customers would probably write some Snowpark Python code to point to that stage where the raw input files are stored, and then just write their Snowpark code in Dataiku. It runs on the Snowflake side to then turn them into a Snowflake table, and then it's the same exact flow. So I'd say there are different ways in which you can interact with the Dataiku control plane, but using Snowflake compute and runtime.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought it was also great. I think when you have retrieval augmented generation chatbots, you a lot of times have this question of, okay, here's the answer, but where did that answer come from? And so then, especially when you have a knowledge base that's really huge, it becomes this whole other problem of maybe you need to manage what documents are in there, and you get an answer and you're like, oh, is this coming from a document I should have taken out of here? So it's kind of this whole other complexity. So I really like how you have that pop-up of here, and you can configure the number of documents that are going to pop up. So I think that's definitely a game changer. My follow-up question would be, under the hood, what are you using for the RAG component of this? Is Dataiku using something like LangChain or Llama Index, or what's the mechanism for that?
Yeah, so with Dataiku, we provide in our administration UI the ability to connect to different LLMs in the world. And so in this case, they're LLMs hosted on Snowpark Container Services. We provide an authentication layer so that certain users get access to them. We provide cost reporting, auditing, etc. Same thing with OpenAI models, right? So we basically are using LangChain internally, and then we have a little Dataiku Python wrapper around that that emulates a lot of the LangChain functionality. And then in terms of the vector DB, we're using I think I use a local face vector store, which is being stored just on this EC2 machine. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions from the judges before they go decide the scores? And we can go to live questions. Okay, it's time to go to some live questions. Thank you, judges. Now you have the hard job of scoring, Pat. And as a reminder, this is not an Uber ride. We are not giving just fives. The judges have the hard job of trying to give scores so we can have a ranking later and bring the best to live at Summit. So, Pat, you have some fans online. I'm getting some comments from LinkedIn. Kyle Berry, I think Kyle works at Dataiku too. So Kyle is saying that he just ran one on 500 clinical study protocols, 1,000 pages of PDF, and turned that into a single vector on the Dataiku instance. So that's not a question, but my question for you would be, for people that don't understand exactly what does this mean, what does this mean?
Yeah, so this means, and Kyle, clearly the expert Kyle, one of our amazing sales engineers at Dataiku. So this means that you can take any corpus of structured, unstructured data and throw it into a vector database. And it doesn't matter if it's giant documents, small documents, it's all possible. I'd say one consideration as you're thinking about RAG use cases and vector databases is that there are some open source solutions. So we're using Face or ChromaDB in this case, but you can also leverage an enterprise vector store solution, like a Pinecone as an example. And I think Snowflake's probably working on a vector store too, right? And so I think depending on the use case, the scale that you're dealing with, you may want to consider, open source, local vector store versus a enterprise grade scalable solution here.
Yeah, I don't know if we are working in one, but we do have partners, excellent partners that can run vector databases in containers. And Snowflake, we've also talked about forward-looking statement of having the vector type in Snowflake. Uh, a question from Milan. What are your thoughts on why did the bot response took some time? Was it the environment? That was...
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so one thing is the streaming of tokens. If you've used OpenAI ChatGPT recently, you'll notice that it sort of types out word by word as it's generating text, and it makes it seem like it responds pretty quickly, but it's actually still generating the letters one by one behind the scenes here. And actually, this is a Dataiku product feature request, which we're about to release in our next version, is the ability to stream tokens like that. So partially it's a Dataiku enhancement, which is coming up. But the second question is, how do we scalably deploy LLMs on GPUs in a way that's going to return responses fast? And partially that's my fault for doing a pretty simple implementation of an LLM on a single GPU instance. It's Snowflake's smallest GPU compute pool type on Snowpark Container Services. And so Snowflake actually has some cool blogs online already on how you can shard an LLM and distribute workloads using Ray, a framework called Ray, to have better user concurrency and faster model response time. So partially it's basically because I'm lazy, and partially because Dataiku is implementing this individual letter streaming in the coming days. Yeah,
I like it, but I love how this question points. Yeah, exactly. I love how this question and the answer points to you run this on the smallest GPU available instance, and how is it already possible to scale it in different ways? And Milan also has an UI question, so that's the perfect connection why it looks slow, because we didn't do the UI trick. But Milan question here would be, why did we do this through the Dataiku web app? Could we have put the chatbot somewhere else, like for example a Streamlit app?
Yeah, you can put it somewhere else too. I did it through the Dataiku web app because this web app is available just as a solution to all of our customers. So all of our customers can just install this in a couple clicks, because we're in the business of also hosting web apps, but you can build your web app anywhere else. A lot of our customers have integrated basically the code behind the scenes of just channeling prompts and responses of our LLMs through Dataiku, but through their own website or through their own proprietary web app framework. That's very doable.
Excellent. Each UI might get the possibility of showing replies word by word if, yes, depending on the UI and depending if you are streaming those words. But that's everything is connected. Thank you, Milan, for the questions, because even Sang Kyung Kim said to stream it and to the POC environment, he wanted a reply to both. So, and what else? Raji is asking if we can get a recording of this. Yes, this is immediately available for everyone on LinkedIn and YouTube, so you can share this link with more people. Come back to the comments, and our friends from Dataiku will also be in these comments answering your questions right now or maybe after the show. While we're here waiting for the judges, can you show us a little more of the notebook that you used to set up the environment now that we have more time?
Yeah, sure. Am I still sharing my screen?
Rita can get us your screen right now. Excellent. Thank you, Rita.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Okay. So we're using SnowML, which is a new Snowflake public Python package that you can use for training machine learning models using Snowpark and deploying those models on Snowflake to their Snowflake model registry. And so basically Dataiku handles the authentication to Snowflake behind the scenes An administrator sets it up, and it's pretty easy as a user to just say, what connection do I want to use? And so that gives me access to like the appropriate Snowflake role, like warehouse, compute pools, like all the stuff that's required on the Snowflake side. And then I'm saying like which models do I want to deploy to Snowpark Container Services? So these are a few generative chat complete models. And this is our embedding LLM to generate those vectors. I'm going to say which compute pools do I want to deploy to. So as I mentioned, we're using a small GPU compute pool for the chat complete LLM, and we're using a smaller compute pool for the embedding LLM. Yeah, and we're saying like, you know, we only want the model to spit out a max of 256 tokens. So there's some different things you can tune here. You can make the container service scalable. So I think this is a nice feature of Snowpark Container Services, is that if the endpoint is receiving too many requests, you can scale this up to like 5 max instances, and then it'll scale as like there are more users of the chatbot. And then it's just some code here where we're pulling the model from Hugging Face using the Hugging Face model ID. We're using a Snowpark ML wrapper around Hugging Face pipelines to like grab that model, deploy it to a Snowflake model registry, and then deploy it to Snowpark Container Services. And that's where we pass in the compute pool, the number of GPUs, all that stuff like this. And so, yeah, it's just like some easy code, and our customers are able to like deploy these LLMs to Snowpark Container Services. Then they receive a URL, and then they basically plug that into a Dataiku connection to that LLM. And so like we have this whole UI for using all these different LLMs, right, from all the major providers. And one of them is Snowpark Container Services, right? And so here we just say, is this an embedding model? Is this a chat completion model? We pass in that URL that we just generated from the Python notebook. We can add in like cost metrics, because we're all about cost reporting here, because I think with a lot of LLM use cases, it's like value versus cost, and that's it. And then it's available in our whole Dataiku platform to use as a model.
Beautiful. So I think our judges are almost ready to come back. I have a quick question, 2 quick questions. One from LinkedIn is, what different input file formats? It's just PDFs?
No. It supports a ton of different file formats. I think we had a list of the file formats in that particular plugin. But yeah, docx, HTML, there are more. In that plugin, we have some documentation showing all the formats supported.
Excellent. And for people that would love to try this at home, what are the next steps? Is there code available? Where should they go?
Yeah. So if you go to dataiku.com, on our homepage, it's like spin up an instance for free. So we have a cloud offering, so you can spin up a free trial and connect it to your Snowflake instance. In terms of this specific demo, so the integration with LMs on Snowpark Container Services, we're actually releasing this publicly on our GitHub in a couple days. So you'll have to wait on the Snowpark Container Services specific stuff, but give it maybe this time next week, and we're happy to send out maybe on LinkedIn a link to that GitHub, and then it has all the instructions and the code and the setup steps and screenshots and everything. But you can download Dataiku, or you can use our cloud hosted trial for free right now.
Excellent. I will be looking forward to that link. Before we end the show, the judges are going to deliver the final score. But before that, I want to invite everyone to be as brave as Pat and bring us your demos. If you have something cool you've done with Snowflake, if you want to be featured here, if you want to come to the live finale, if you're one of the best, according to our judges, send us your demo. Just make a 5-minute video so we can be sure that you have a 5-minute. If you want to prove it later, that's okay. But we start the conversation with a 5-minute demo. And with that said, Daniel, are you ready to deliver the final score?
Absolutely. So overall, very good. some of the things that we really saw. So regarding ambition, like we've said before, highly ambitious, especially doing all of this in just 5 minutes. Very impressive. It's cool to see how you've been able to leverage Snowpark Container Services, GPUs, in conjunction with all the other things that Dataiku can do as well. For relevance, it is very relevant given where RAGs are today and how they're being used across the industry, and giving customers the ability to ask questions of their own data. Right, that is more and more relevant every day we go on. Engaging. We thought it was very engaging. The simplicity that you were able to show, very nice. And it was very entertaining to see the types of questions that you asked, and seeing the difference between the two prompts that you gave. One was filtered based off of the PDF and one wasn't. So overall, the average score, drum roll please, is at 10.4. Very, very good score. And congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Wow, it's an honor, honestly. Thank you guys so much.
It was really awesome to have you today. It was really awesome to have our judges, everyone watching us. The questions that got through LinkedIn, I know not everything got through LinkedIn these days, but we are very happy to have everyone. Pat, you did an awesome job. We would love to have you back if you have more demos to show, and I'm sure you have a lot to show off. And with that, I want to thank everyone for coming. Yes. I want to thank our partners in Chile, Associative, that lent me their nice room that has better internet than my hotel room. And next week, we will be back. Send us your demos. Thanks a lot.
Want to be featured on our show? Submit a video of you successfully completing a functioning demo within 5 minutes. Demos must be technical, original, and showcase existing Snowflake features.